All right, so we have Michael DiMisa here, and why don't you go ahead and tell us what you did?
Yeah, so I just went fully undefeated 9-0 in our OTS championship with Centur-Ion.
Nice. And then how did you feel about your entire deck today besides going XO?
The deck felt crazy. I spent last night putting a couple of fun cards into it just to try them out, and they honestly almost overperformed today.
Nice. So we have, obviously, you have this nice, beautiful Promethean Princess mat. And then in addition, here at the store, you also gained this Tag Team Charmers mat as well. So before we get into the cards, is there any shout-outs, anything you want to do?
Yeah, shout out to Maurice and Lucas. They helped me last night putting the last couple of finishing touches on this deck. Maurice is the one who put me on the deck in the first place, and it's been amazing. Like the deck just goes hard, and it plays into hand traps a lot, but it plays through them very easily.
Nice. Well, congrats again. Let's go ahead and get into the cards here.
All right, so for our card by card, we'll start with the Centur-Ions. We ran 3 Primera. Pretty standard. It's your tuner of the deck. Protects your big monsters while she's in the spell and trap zone. People tend to forget that a lot, and so they'll try and destroy your level 5 or highers, and then she just stops it, and then searches for whatever Centur-Ion card you need. The next starter for the deck is Centur-Ion Trudea. She's a Pyro, so if you want, you can play Bonfire, but I don't really want to be playing into Droll. And then she becomes your second level 8. Then the last Centur-Ion monster were on 1 Emmet. I was on 2 for a while, but I keep drawing 1 or drawing 2, and I was still drawing it multiple times today. So I chose to cut it back to 1, and it turned out pretty well. Then for our secondary engine, most of the time you can't play this entirely pure. Our second engine was Horus. So I'm running 3 Imseti and then 1 Happy. It gives you more level 8. It gives you the ability to dig with Imseti for more cards, and then it helps you push through boards with King Sark Send, potentially Imseti Send, and then whatever extra deck cards you use with it.
It's nice to see a topping list actually go back to using this engine.
Oh yeah,
personally.
It's great. Happy comes up so often where they banish the King Sark with Cosmic, and I'll just go Happy, add it, and a hand trap back to hand, and nothing lost there. Next into our hand traps, this deck runs a lot, but most decks this format do. I'm on 3 Ash Blossom. It's a fairly standard one. A lot of people cut this against Fire, but I just think it has so much use that it's worth keeping in. 3 Effect Veiler. It's really good, and it's a spellcaster for later. 3 Nibiru. This card can sometimes solo the Fire deck, and solos a lot of other decks if they choose to play into it. Voiceless Voice, it's hard for them to play into it, but if they're trying to break your board, they're going to almost definitely play into Nibiru. I was on 3 Ghost Spell, but I cut back to 2 for today to try and fit more variety in. And it comes up a lot against Flameberg. Saphira adds back from the graveyard as well. Not many people do that, but it's an option, so you're able to Ghost Spell it. And then, of course, if they get to Promethean Princess or Hida, you're able to Ghost Spell those as well. And then Ghostmourner and Moonlit Chill. This came up a couple of times. Unfortunately, the one time it really came up was against Chimera, and it helped a lot, but then I had to talents take the monster I Moonlit Chill. Then I linked that monster off, and I was actually the one to take that burn damage because its controller took the damage, so I was its controller. So that's our hand trap lineup. That's a total of, I believe it's 20.
3, 6, 9...
9, so it's 13.
13 in total.
13 actual hand traps that are monsters. If we're talking about hand traps as well, we're also on 3 Imperm.
That is not an Imperm. Where did the other Imperm go?
Sorry, they
You're good.
3 Imperm, so a total of 16 actual hand traps, and they, Imperm also went really well today. Setting it, forcing interaction, and pushing the Calamity Lock through if needed. Into our spells, it's fairly standard for the Centur-Ion. I'm on 3 stand-up Centur-Ion. You almost have to be on 3. It's your way to set up whatever synchros you want on your opponent's turn, and then it gets you started on your own turn. 3 Emblema Oath. It's your card that if they hand trap you, it's what they are essentially putting you on. And if you have Emblema Oath, it just is able to push through almost any hand trap that your opponent tries to throw at you. Most of the time, if I open it, I'm either using it to set the field spell. I don't like placing from deck with it because I like getting access to the field spell first. But if you open it with combo, you try your other combo first. If they hand trap you, you use Oath to extend. And if they don't hand trap you, you use its effect to set in the end phase. Our last Centur-Ion spell is Centur-Ion Bonds. It places from hand or grave, and then if I special Legadia, I can banish it to place again. So it's that extra piece of extension that comes up often enough that you just need the one of. And most of the time when I'm using Primera to search later on in the game, if I don't want to search another copy of the field spell, I'll search the Bonds, because Bonds is just, once you have started the combo, you're able to just get that extension a lot easier. I'm on 2 King Sarcophagus. One of these and sometimes the Happy, we're getting sided out a lot for more hand traps and more non-engined, just because drawing multiple King Sarks isn't great. Drawing the Imseti is sometimes better so that you can dig deeper. And then our last spell is 3 Triple Tactics Talents. This card put in a lot of work today. I get hand trapped, and I have the Emblema Oath for extension, so I look at their hand, take out either the hand trap that they have that'll matter, or the combo starter for the next turn, and then Emblema Oath to extend through that first hand trap. So I get to know all but one of their cards. Sometimes I draw 2. A couple of times I used it to take monsters, but it doesn't happen all that often. And then the last card is Phalanx. If I was able to do full combo, and then I get to end phase with an Emblema Oath in hand, this is what you're setting. It's almost a Farfa, so it banishes, and then I special it back during the standby of the next turn. So I played against a lot of Voiceless Voice today, and one of the times I used it, banished the low, specialed that low back in attack position with 50 attack, and was able to attack over it for exactly game. So the fact that I'm the one specialing that gets to pick the zone makes it matter a lot. So that's a 40-card even main deck.
And I believe you had said you played against 3 Fire, 5 Voiceless Voice, and then that would make 8. What was your 1 random?
1 branded Chimera.
That's wild.
So a lot of Voiceless Voice in the room today. I think there was a decent amount of Fire, but I just didn't end up running into it until very late into the tournament. And
there was a decent amount of Fire.
Yeah, there was a lot. Like, I think in the top 8, it was 4 Fire, 3 on Fire King, 1 Pure, then 3 Voiceless Voice, and then the one me on Centur-Ion. So there was a lot of Fire in the room. As for the extra deck, I'm running 2 Legadia and 2 Crimson Dragon. I would sometimes consider cutting this back to 1, but I know at our local tournaments there's a lot of Kashtira that runs around because Shifter's a really good card into Fire sometimes. So I don't want to get...
you don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, I don't want to get unicorned and not be able to use the Crimson Dragon. I am okay if they hit my one of Calamity, because that's not the only thing I summoned with Crimson Dragon. I think I summoned it about 4 times this turn, and when you do, it typically ends that game. On the spot.
Disclaimer, you won all 4 of those games that you summoned that. However,
I believe I did.
Let's get it gone.
One of the times I summoned it, and then they summoned an SP, and I normal summoned a monster, went battle phase, said Hot Red Dragon attack for 2,400 damage, and then it has an effect when it destroys a monster by battle. It does damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack.
I didn't know that.
So if you're attacking an attack position monster, it'll always deal 4,000 damage, and then that was enough to be able to push through for game.
Okay.
Our other target is Cosmic Blazar. So if Calamity get banned, this card probably goes up to 2 because this card is absolutely incredible. It banishes it for cost until the end phase to either negate a summon and destroy the monster, negate a card or effect and destroy the card, or negate an attack and end the battle phase. That last one doesn't come up a lot, but when it does, it's huge. But eventually, if Calamity's not good against the deck, or if it's after turn 1 and they've already established, you just establish a Blazar, and then every turn you get a 4,000 attack negate for free, essentially. So it's almost like Voiceless Voice with Skull Guardian. I play 1 more level 12 Synchro, and it's Super Heavy Samurai Masuwaro. It was flip-flop between either this or Final Sigma, but I felt like this had more utility. Final Sigma can push for game better, but I have other cards in here that help me do that. So if my opponent activates a spell trap card or one of those effects, I draw until I have 3 in hand. So it helps me with resource management. It helps me because I'll set a couple of cards, end with maybe 1 or 2 hand traps, and then they start playing, I'll hand trap them, they'll activate a spell or trap, and then I'll draw 2 and reestablish my hand with hopefully new hand traps or starters for next turn. That's our Synchro engine. And it like Super Heavy Samurai came in a lot.
Yeah, I remember you saying that you were like you had considered this card about like getting rid of this, and then I watched you win matches off of this card alone. I was like, this card's actually pretty insane.
It's another 4,000 defense speeder, and you need something.
He's got a big booty on him.
You need something to be able to play around Super Poly if you want to.
Yep.
Because Legadia, Primera, and Crimson Dragon are all light, so they can Super Poly any combination of those in the Mud Dragon. Then into our Xyz, I needed a rank 8. I was debating on using Dingirsu, but I chose to do Infection Buzz King. On summon, I'll look at their extra deck, so I get a whole bunch of free information, and then most of the times I hit like an SP and send it to grave. If they're only on 1 Promethean Princess, I'll send that. Against Fire, sending their Link Karibo is actually really good. It forces them to do some awkward plays. And then whatever threat I see in their extra deck, it's just gone. I'm on 1 Typhon. A lot of people cut at this format. The reason this deck keeps it is because we make all the level 12s you'd ever want. So we can actually overlay and hard summon Typhon and not get locked into not summoning for the rest of the turn. So it's an easy way to, if their end board, like for example with Sprite, they're able to play through the Calamity, summon Mosquito, and then make a Zeus. If we're able to get to summoning Typhon, their Zeus is just dead. Also, Legadia is turned off by Typhon, but if we revive it with Phalanx, it's at 2,000, so it's not. And that's a really fun interaction there. And it happens more often than I'd like to admit. And then for our last Xyz, because we're running a card that can pop cards and has 3,000 attack, so it's good in battle, we're running the Zeus just to clear boards. I never made Typhon or Zeus today. They never ended up coming up. Most of the time, if I was making Buzz King, I was ripping from the extra deck, destroying a card, and then linking it off. As for our link monsters, pretty much every deck has to play SP right now. It's the best extra deck card around, besides arguably Promethean Princess. It just outs cards, and then it can sit there and control the board state.
And then your best package coming up.
Yeah, I put this in.
I watched you resolve this so many times for the game.
I was going back and forth today whether or not I wanted to play this. I was playing Super Poly before today, but I just feel like the Fire decks have started to put up boards that don't play into Super Poly. So I was running a package of Lina, Dark, Selene, and Axis Code. I can't run Hida. I could, but I have to normal summon Ash Blossom to go into that, and that just doesn't feel worthwhile. So we've got Primera, Nibiru, and Effect Veiler for our lights. And then Imseti is a dark, and also Trudea is a dark. So those are the easy ones to make the dark or the Lina. I made Selene using SP at some point during the tournament. But then also, Primera is a spellcaster, and if I haven't activated her effect this turn to search, I'm able to use Selene to revive her. Veiler's a spellcaster, and then people don't seem to know that Imseti is a spellcaster as well. It almost never comes up except when you're doing stuff with Selene. So there was one game where my Primera got negated in the spell and trap zone and destroyed, and I was able to link climb up into Selene, special the Primera, search the Trudea, normal summon, and then continue playing through it. And that was the time, like that was round 1, and I realized, okay, this package is probably going to stay for a little while. It's absolutely crazy.
All right, and then last but not least, your side deck.
Yep, this has a little less thought needed to explain. Droll's really good into some matchups. Fire's able to play through it, so I don't side it in all that often. I was playing Bestials. This is what me and my buddies were talking through last night. I wanted different names so that if I draw multiple, I can use them. And the Baldrake's effect on summon on field, if my opponent specials a Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link, came up a couple of times to just banish that card. And yes, it's Fire format, but every deck, almost every deck has a lighter dark that they end up making. Cosmic is to out all of our opponents. back row. Summon limit's so prevalent right now, and it's also there for our next card as a crossout target. I was siding in one Cosmic, one Droll every once in a while just to be able to play through it if my hand required. And then I don't like playing...
the card Konami missed.
I don't like playing Summon Limit. Everyone's playing it, so you might as well join the bandwagon. I was siding this in as a one of going second a couple of times, again, to protect crossout. The deck doesn't play too terribly well under it, but if you get established, you're able to slowly chip into your synchros, summon 2 monsters on the opponent's turn, so like Emmet and Trudea, put the Trudea back on your turn, place Primera, special Primera, and get a synchro summon. And then you just keep cycling through that, and you're slowly but surely able to establish a board of really good synchro monsters.
Nice. All right, well, that is everything. Do you have anything else that you want to...
No, this deck is really fun. Is it the best deck in the room? Probably not, but there's a lot of people out there where they have to read cards. They forget that the field spell has protection. They forget Legadia protects from battle. So there's just a lot of niche interactions that people just don't realize. So you can catch some people off guard, and then Calamity can just win games on its own.
Nice. Well, congrats once again. Proud of you, buddy. Congrats. And we will catch you all next time.
Yep. See you guys.